Good evening, councillors, staff, members of the public. I declare the Ordinary Council meeting on the 24th of April 2024 open at 5:30 p.m. Everyone please stand. I wish to acknowledge the Gadigal people as the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on and recognise their strength, resilience and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Councillor McRae, can you hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Item number 3. This meeting has been live streamed and audio recorded to facilitate community participation for minute-taking purposes, which may be released upon request to third parties. In accordance with Clause 616 Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law 2014, members of the public are not permitted to use any visual, audio, electronic device or instrument to record the proceeding of any meeting unless that person has been given permission by the presiding member to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in Clause 617-4 Standing Orders, mobile phones must be switched off and not be used during the meeting. 3.1 Attendance. I note that not all councillors are present with us. Councillor Bennett is on approved leave of absence and their list will be under 3.1 of the minutes. 3.2 Attendance by telephone entertains communications. We have Councillor McRae who's online. 3.3 Apologies. Ms. CEO, do you have any apologies at all?
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, CEO. 3.4 Approved leave of absence. CEO, have we received any approved leaves of absence at all?
Just Councillor Bennett as per the agenda.
Okay, thank you, CEO. 3.5 Disclosure of interest. CEO, have we have any disclosures of interest at all?
Councillor Rebello has one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Can I say?
Yes, please, yes.
I have an impartiality interest to declare. This is for item number 12.4.2, Spoilbank Marina maintenance arrangements. And that is because my husband works for Pilbara Ports.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rebello. Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too have a conflict of interest. Mine is in relation to item number 15.1, the purchase of property for sale for staff housing. I have a indirect financial and a proximity interest, as I have a investment property within inside the strata boundaries of the property, which again gives me a financial and proximity interest. So they both indicate that I must leave the room, and I shall do that during the debate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor number 4, application for approved leave of absence. CEO, have any applications for approved leaves of absence?
Mr. Mayor, I have a request from Councillor Turner for the period 1st of May 2024 to the 31st of May 2024.
Thank you, CEO. Can I have a move of that, please? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Blanco, thank you. Is anyone against that motion? Motion's passed. Thank you, councillors. Item number 5, response to previous questions. Response to questions received at the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 27th of March 2024 have been provided to individuals and detailed in the agenda. Item number 6, public time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions of council with regarding to the night's agenda and the business of local government. Clause 6.7 number 3, the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders requires that members of the public wishing to ask questions to complete the question form and place the completed form in the tray provided. If myself as a providing member determines that questions and statements are out of order due to offensive or objectionable expression or defamatory, they will not be considered, recorded nor responded to. 6.1 public question time. I will declare public question time open at 5:34 p.m. CEO, do you have any public questions at all received?
Not received any, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, CEO. Members of the public, do you have any questions? Members of the public like to come forward? And yes, Roger, please state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Roger Higgins, 119 Edgar Street. I'd like to ask the Mayor why it is that whenever he opens meetings here, he continues to pay homage to a group of people that have no authority over any of us here. Why is that? Why are we not acknowledging the authority of the King and the Governor-General with respect to the Parliament of this Australia? Why do we continue this practice of paying homage to a group of people who have no authority here whatsoever.
I'll take that on notice. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any more public questions at all? Yes, Johnny, please come forward. State your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
John Ocean, 11 Spoonbill Crescent, South Hedland. Good evening. How is everyone going tonight? You all feeling right and fit? All right. Mayor Peter Carter, if I may, I would like to direct my 3 questions at Deputy Mayor Christensen.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, could you shed some light on why there's an attempt to alter the terms of reference for the ARC tonight, especially considering it failed to gain traction at the recent ARC meeting, which I was at, due to a lack of a seconder? It seems you are trying to use the council to overrule ARC without any discussion with the committee and the administration to try and come to some agreement with them.
Would you like to answer that, Councillor?
To the chair, if you may.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thanks for the question. First and foremost, I'll draw reference to the fact of the ARC committee is the committee of the ARC is exactly that. It's an arm of this committee and this council. So as part of that, the normal practice is the incoming committee members will gather, convene and try and have a conversation about what changes they see fit for the terms of reference to continue the business of the ARC. As you will see in my motion, as you can clearly see there, it states that there has been 3 attempts for this to happen within inside of that committee. Nothing has happened. So there's been no traction gained from the committee to make that happen. In my mind, that's unsatisfactory for me personally, because the terms of reference of that group dictate what that committee can and can't do and how they operate and why they should operate. So in my mind, 3 attempts is adequate enough evidence to show that I've given some leniency to the committee to make a decision. Hasn't happened. So therefore, all I've asked, respectfully, is that this motion now be brought to the next council meeting, allowing all councillors here a month grace to make an educated decision, as we normally would anyway. So even if the committee, the ARC committee, made a decision, it's not guaranteed. It's only a recommendation to come to us to have that conversation. And I 100% deny and pretty disappointed that the accusation will be thrown that it will be directed via administration. This has been brought along on my own fruition, as I believe, again, this is the correct governance procedure that should be followed. So that's my answer to that.
Do you think you could just do that without having to do this? You could use it all there on the night. You just could have had a meeting behind the closed doors and thrashed out some how we're going to deal with this before doing this.
Again, that's why I believe this is this
Okay.
is a given
I'll go on
opportunity
to
for
my
us to
second
talk.
question. Okay, Deputy Mayor, what prompts the urgency to alter the terms of reference now instead of addressing this matter during your tenure as a committee member less than 12 months ago?
Thank you for the question. And again, I'll draw reference to the meeting, I believe, before we did fold, where I raised this item with the council at the time before we got rid of our previous 4 councillors that were on the board. I was instructed that it'd be best practice to allow, before we make the changes, to allow the new ARC committee to be formed, to allow them the opportunity, as per the policies and procedures.
So you was instructed?
Sorry?
You was instructed to wait until you'd finished your tenure? That's your answer?
No, it was advice given to me by the
Yeah,
governance
or
team.
advice was given to
Yes,
you?
as we do for everything we do. So again,
Right.
that
Right, I got
allows
it.
for the people to come in and do it. So
Okay. Also, Deputy Mayor, if you believe there is a need for changes and more council members on the committee, why did you not volunteer to be part of the ARC when councillors were last asked to participate?
thank you again for your question. Quite evidently, when I've taken the role as Deputy Mayor, as you can clearly see, there's a substantial amount of work to be done.
Well, Tim Turner was a Deputy Mayor and on the ARC as well.
No, but rephrase your question. I believe you asked the question, why didn't I stand for the ARC committee again? Is that correct? Yes, and again, the whole reason I did that was because I was appointed the Deputy Mayor of the council. And again, I can't shadow and shoulder all the expectations that is required to fulfil that role. That's a massive role to sit on the ARC committee. I've done, by becoming the Deputy Mayor, I've inherited a lot more meetings, a lot more committees, and I had my commitment to the council that I was with before, that my passion sits with the road safety and that sort of thing from our council point of view, which I went to that. So that's why I'm saying I just didn't have the capacity to be able to pick that workload up, which is why I stood away from it this year.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Do we have any more public questions at all? Yes, Marilyn, come here. State your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
My name is Marilyn Browning and I'm at 233 Collier Drive, South Headland. Through the chair, Mr Mayor, can I please ask Councillor Blanco a question?
Yes, certainly.
Yep, thank you. So just after the council meeting resumed on Monday night, from the last and very long recess that Councillor Christensen requested to talk to I think it was the governance team, you revoked the foreshadow motion. Can you answer why is that?
Certainly. So I lodged the foreshadowed motion, and when it came to discussing the foreshadowed motion, the administration were trying to call their lawyers to get advice on whether the motion was acceptable or not. And we waited for a while, and we couldn't get hold of any lawyers. So I said that I wasn't going to stay here all night long waiting for advice. So I retracted the motion. Otherwise, we might have been here all night.
Right. Might have run into this meeting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So my next question is to you, Mr Mayor. No surprises. On the Tuesday, the 23rd of April, yesterday, whilst doing an interview with the ABC Perth Breakfast Radio, the host asked you about the foreshadow motion, stating it did not get up. Your response was, quote, "No, it didn't get up, and he cannot do that," unquote. So my question is, do you remember why it didn't get up? And if so, why did you not correct the radio host to say that it was revoked? As there is a very big difference.
All right, it was on the spot moment they've started, that was all.
Okay. Third question. Again, when speaking on the radio interview, you stated that on the night that your other councillors listened to the other councillors as to the reason why the vote didn't go the way that you had hoped. Listen to the other councillors and getting jittery feet and need to leave the emotions out. So your councillors here need to leave their emotions out and need to look at the facts. And some didn't look at the facts and some just looked at the emotion part of it. So in Standing Order 9.14.2a, it says it's a no adverse reflection. So number 2 states, a member is not to reflect adversely on the character or actions of another member or employee. So is it not your job, as per the standing orders, to support the council decision and to not reflect on that adversely by undermining them publicly on radio by saying they did not look at the facts and leave their emotions out?
Yeah, on radio, I said on the radio, look, yeah, leave the emotion out of all the things, look at the facts. And the facts of what I saw and what I heard were the facts, and the council voted the way they wanted to vote, so that was it. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
No, I've already said it once. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't understand what you're saying, sorry.
I just said the council have a decision to make, and basically we get to leave the emotion out and look at the facts, and the facts were what I heard and what I saw, and that's what I said on the radio.
Yeah, right.
Okay, thank you.
Probably could have got the facts first.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any more public questions at all? Just to come forward, take your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gillian Fisher. I reside at 3 Mitchie Crescent. And I've got some questions tonight. I do have one question that sort of follows on in the same theme as the previous question, or previous topic, I suppose. And I'd like to direct this through the Mayor, and including the Mayor and the 2 councillors that actually voted for the motion that was ultimately defeated on Monday night. And I actually asked this question on Monday night, but it wasn't answered, and the Mayor himself said it was going to be answered throughout the night. So I just want to clarify this. My question was, can you please cite specific sections of the Local Government Act 1995 or any other relevant council legislation that Councillor McRae has breached?
Well, that was answered on the Monday night.
Was there points?
It was answered on Monday night. Do you have another question?
There wasn't any points.
Do you have another question?
I do actually.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'll take that question on, not on notice, I'll answer it. In both my response and the response from Councillor Rebello, particularly Councillor Rebello, she did make reference to several points under the Code of Conduct.
Yes.
And that was outlined quite specifically and articulated in that way. So if you were to go back and look at the transcript, I think you will find they were key points referenced and specific points mentioned.
Yeah, I actually tried to look at the live stream and the live stream's not up. So I don't understand what's going on there. So
But I can guarantee those points were made as a way of presenting our arguments on the night.
okay.
Okay, second question.
Okay, second question. I'd just like to know why the council's paying $9,500 for massages. If you have a look on page 42 of, no, what are we? I'm looking through the invoices list.
Mr Mayor, I can answer that question. It was part of a health and wellness program for the staff.
For the staff, okay. And is there a reason why it goes through that and not through the council Wellwomen's Centre or like the programs that are run out of that one?
No, it would have been a procurement process and we would have got quotations.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it's like $9,560 or something. Yeah. Okay, so then my last question is just regarding a question that Councillor McRae brought up in his inaugural council meeting. He just wanted to know about the what the council was going to petition the state government with regards to adding police and probably social workers to our town to try and stem the ridiculous rate of crime that's happening in South Hedland. Now, the Mayor said, okay, I'll take that on notice.
And we'll respond to McRae's question as well.
Yeah, because the administration says further that it is recommended that in the first instance council invite Pilbara District Police from both South and Port to meet with elected members. And I was just wondering if there was a date organised yet, because that's like a month ago.
CEO, do you want
If the director's got a date, I know we were reaching out to them.
I think it is early June from memory.
Okay.
Staff met with the district commander and two of the senior officers from South last week, and they were just getting back to us with some dates. We've given them 2 dates, which I think are early June, and then they're yet to come back to us on what date suits them.
Okay, so will that be at a ordinary council meeting or is that at a private meeting?
It'll be a briefing, yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do you have any more public questions at all? I just come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good evening. Lee Gibbs of South Hedland. So, Mr Mayor, I'm referring to your last 2 addresses on Monday night at the Extraordinary Council meeting. Just wondering where you get your information from.
As to?
Your last 2 addresses, your speeches on Monday night. Just wondering where you get your information from.
I mean, in what capacity? I don't understand what you're saying. My information from the media, from the administration, yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Referring to the meeting also, how much did that cost the town of Port Hedland?
I have no idea. It's a normal special council meeting, so yeah.
Is there a way of finding out that figure?
I don't think there's even a cost to it. I mean, it's CEO.
It's not something we would have readily to hand. It will be the cost of the officer's time present plus the cost of the operation of the building for the time that the meeting was taking place.
And the security guards and
security.
whatnot.
Yep.
Okay. So my third question is, over the last 3 weeks, Councillor McRae has been pretty hounded by the media, and I've seen some pretty awful things said about him on social media, calling him a traitor and whatnot. I was surprised, Mr Mayor, to find out that you hadn't contacted him at all over that time to discuss, you know, Town of Port Hedland's stand on his comments. To me, it shows a complete absence of a duty of care to a new councillor and someone on your team. And my question is, given that, how can you demonstrate that you have a duty of care to the people of Port Hedland?
Well, I do. Thank you very much.
That's not an answer.
It is. Thank you. Sit down.
Can you
I do.
demonstrate it to
I
us?
do. Thank you very much. Sit down. Thank you.
How?
Sit down, please. As I said, I do. Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
not a sufficient answer,
Sit down.
Mayor
Sit
Carter.
down. Thank you. Sit down. Quiet, please. Sit down. Thank you. Do you have any more public questions
You're a
at all?
leader. You're a leader.
Do we,
You
that's
should
right.
be able to
Sit
answer
down.
that
Exactly
question.
right. Sit down. Do you have any more public questions at all? Yes, Renee, come forward, state your name and address to the record, please. Thank you.
Renee Coles, 58 Green Place, South Hedland. My first question is that currently on the Town of Hedland website, we've got many strategies sitting in place. Currently, one of the 4 that I've been able to pull up so far, Transit Workforce Accommodation Strategy, October 2014, Arts and Culture Strategy, 2019 to 22, with the Transit Workforce Accommodation Strategy, the Pilbara Port City Growth Plan and the Pilbara Port City Implementation Plan. Just wondering, when are our plans going to start being updated on the website and looked at and processed through council, rather than all the atrocity that seems to be happening? When can we go back to business as usual, and when can we see updated versions? And if they're not required, when can they be removed? That's my first question.
I'm happy to take that one on administratively and look at those reports, and if it's appropriate to remove them, I'll remove them. They sound old, so thank you.
Thank you. My next question goes to tonight's agenda, 12.5.2. As it was very clear on Monday night, your leadership and commitment to the community and your team is very questionable, not to mention your ability to run any public meetings to appropriate standard. So, Mayor Carter, I ask you 2 very simple questions, please. Do you believe that the standard of the meetings you currently preside over is at to a satisfactory level?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Number 2, outside of council commitment to the department's letter as stated in tonight's agenda, what are you going to do differently to address the clear concerns directly related to your lack of leadership, lack of communication skills and lack of commitment to this community, please?
That's an item that's on the agenda tonight, yes. I cannot comment because it's an agenda item, thank you. Okay, do you have any more public questions at all? Okay, I will close public question time at 5:53 p.m. Okay, 6.2, public statement time. I declare public statement time open at 5:53 p.m. CEO, have you received any public statements at all?
Not received any, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thank you, CEO. Of the gallery want to come forward and make a public statement at all? No? Okay, comes forward, state your name and address to the record, please. Thank you, John.
As before, John Essendon, 11 Spoonbill Crescent. Good evening, councillors and fellow Port Hedlanders. Well, at least the ones that bothered to show up. Today I would like to address the recent ARC meeting, which was attended by all councillors except Mayor Peter Carter. I myself was the sole resident ratepayer present. No other person was there. During this meeting, a motion was put forward to adopt the officer's recommendations concerning the Audit Risk and Compliance Committee's review of the financial reports for the year ending the 30th of June 2023. This motion was defeated by a vote of 2 against and 1 for. As one of the dissenting voices, I wish to emphasise the reasons behind the decision. Firstly, it is essential to acknowledge the serious discrepancies within the budget, a sentiment shared by myself, the two committee members, and I believe many other residents. Furthermore, the complaints submitted to the Auditor General were left unaddressed, as it was not within their purview to investigate such matters. Even as a non-accountant, I observed numerous discrepancies in the budget, and it appears to be deliberately convoluted, designed to confuse rather than inform. This creative accounting tactic makes it challenging for the majority of people to understand. Therefore, I urge my fellow councillors to consider adopting the altered motion put forward by Councillor Blanco. This motion presents a better option as it allows for a thorough investigation into these discrepancies. If there is no untoward happening within our financial processes, then our fellow elected representatives should have no objection to uncovering the truth in the pursuit of honesty and transparency. By supporting the altered motion, you demonstrate your commitment to serving the best interests of our community and upholding the principles of transparency and accountability. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Do you have any more public statements at all? Next, Renee, come forward, take your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Renee Coles, 58 Green Place. My statement here presides here tonight. Town of Port Hedland website, Appendix C, above and below the line of behaviours, around about page 40, 41, on the Town of Port Hedland website, Code of Conduct. Below, behaviours below the line. I only care about my own job tasks. I discriminate and treat others unfairly. I don't care about workplace safety and wellbeing. I'm negative and moody. Above the line behaviours clearly should be, that's only just part, that's under unity. Integrity, I show respect for the ideas of others. I welcome new team members. Clearly, this has not been the case of our recent inducted councillor. So this behaviour above the line for well behaviour as part of the Code of Conduct clearly states, I welcome new team members. I work collaboratively with all business units. I communicate openly and honestly. When are we going to see the Town of Port Hedland councillors go back to business as usual and start looking at the Code of Conduct that is clearly on your website? A good suggestion would be perhaps having it on the board so you can clearly look at it at all given times to remind yourself the oath that you took when you came into actual council. Because clearly there's some things, behaviours above the line, that are far well not even getting done. So can we please go back to business as usual? That's no hand banging on tables in support of people. I don't feel like that's actually quite fits in with the Code of Conduct. And perhaps start actually doing what you're actually up here and paid to do. Just remember, South Ratepayers who put you there. It's our money that's sitting there supporting you in this position. So if you do need a copy of your Code of Conduct, my suggestion is perhaps pull it up, maybe have it in front of you and follow the guidelines that clearly you're being put in here to actually undertake. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any more public statements at all? Mr. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Jan Gillingham, 3 Simmons Street, Port Hedland. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councillors and CEO and staff. Just a mix of a few things this evening, and having read the agenda, I've noticed that the agenda is actually a lot of financials. Right. Before I start, I'd like to just say that I've been looking through some of the attendance areas of the meetings, etc., which are posted on the Town of Port Hedland website. So please have a look at them, because the latest ones only go to 2021, when I was still a councillor, saying how many meetings that we'd attended and that. And it hasn't been updated since 2021 or the first half of 2021. So can the staff or whoever looks after that, please look into that. It needs to have 2022, 2023 and the beginning of 2024. So there's lots of areas where you can actually go on the Town of Port Hedland website and see different things to do with delegations and attendances. So could that please be looked into, because it's a little bit embarrassing when people say, oh look, you know, you're not on council anymore, but I see you did attend your meetings, etc. So I'm happy that I did. Yes, so anyway, the other thing is regarding finances, seem to be a lot on the agenda tonight and looking through, and it's a pity that there's not more public tonight that are actually here to be able to ask questions about the finances, because I know that a lot of people do like to be involved in that, but I do believe there's a lot of them watching tonight. And that, you know. So Talkback Radio recently is regarding a lot to do with big businesses closing down, especially in West Australia and from the mining industry and where we live. We know that some of the big businesses that were working in town here and actually being employed or being contracted with the town of Port Hedland, some of them have gone into liquidation, etc. and that. I think what the Talkback Radio, and I like to listen to the Talkback Radio in the mornings and sometimes late at night, and especially if it comes up, we get a lot of mining people even coming on and actually speaking, because they're actually concerned about the companies that they work for and businesses who actually are contracted to local government, not just Port Hedland, but in other parts of West Australia. And what was the big issue over the last couple of nights of Talkback Radio was that the fallout of these businesses, not just the big businesses that have gone out. I mean, you've got a few like on the books that Town of Port Hedland have. We know who those businesses are, who they businesses are. One of them was MJW, for example. But it's the fallout of these smaller contractors that have been employed by these businesses. They still haven't been paid for these fallouts. The people were talking and ringing up, phoning up the other night and saying, you know, we're still out of pocket. We've lost our houses. We've lost the contracts. We've lost a lot of things. And so this is sad that, yes, our town has managed to prosper a little bit, but it's cost our town a lot of money. So when I was on council, I know that the amount that was cost. So I just want to give a little bit of a history of little things that have been happening since my time in town. Yes, I arrived here in 1985 as a young person, having a young family up here, with no idea of ever going on council until I joined I had a parliamentary position on the Pilbara Development Commission, which was then solely based in Town of Port Hedland, area of Port Hedland, not the Town of Port Hedland Council, but in the Town of Port Hedland area. It was then moved to Karratha later on. So being for several years as a board member of the Pilbara Development Commission, I learned quite a lot. It was very, very interesting, but all the towns of the Pilbara came together at least once a month, and we sometimes met in Karratha, sometimes we went to Newman, etc. Most of the time it was in Port Hedland. But what I learned was, and then shortly after that, somebody said to me, why don't you join the Town of Port Hedland Council? And I said, what for? And they said, well, you know what's going on. You've been in the Pilbara Development Commission. So I sort of started doing my homework and I came up with a couple of things. And then in January 2005, the present CEO, who at the time of the Town of Port Hedland, was a man called Mr. Tony Ford. And then suddenly come back from Christmas holidays in 2004, January 2005, suddenly Mr. Tony Ford had suddenly vacated from the Town of Port Hedland, leaving quite a mess, which I learnt later on that year, but I didn't know about it totally at the time. He had resigned. In fact, the Australian expression was he'd shot through. All right? So I'm just quoting from what was in the newspapers. You can actually go back and see it all in the newspapers, right? The election to bring the next 4 or 5 councillors on for that year, 2005, was held in May, because it was always held in May. And then it got moved later on, a few years later, to October. All right? Wish it was still in May, because it was a much cooler time of the year, because I tell you what, October can be 42 degrees heat sometimes. But yes, I was lucky to be voted on at council. Later that year in 2005, we had learnt that being under a commissioner back then, so it's not the first time it's happened we've had a commissioner, right? But after Mr. Ford had left, and I believe some of the computers were quite empty, that's what we learnt, is the fact that a Department of Local Government forensic audit was put on the town. And when a new CEO was brought in August of 2005, that new CEO had a clean bill of health. The town had a clean bill of health. We sat in this room here and we were presented by the commissioner with everything to do with a complete forensic audit, and our town was back on track. And the people in Port Hedland were very happy. But it made it really excellent for the new CEO coming in and having a clean bill of health, and also the new councillors that had come in the May. So that was ordered by the Department of Local Government, a forensic audit. Then our CEO that came in was Mr. Chris Adams. He had been born in Wickham. He had worked in the Eastern States. He had come from Wyndham after so many years in Wyndham, and he decided to become the CEO of the town of Port Hedland. He was actually employed. He applied and he employed, and he came in the August. And the first question I actually said to Chris Adams as a councillor was, why did you want to come to Port Hedland? He said, the main thing was, Jan, he said, was I was in Wyndham at the time, and I used to drive all the way from Wyndham to Wickham to see my family when I grew up in Wickham. And he said, every time I got to the T-junction, so there used to be a T-junction, not the big, overpass that we have now. There used to be a T-junction, we'd come past the airport, T-junction, Port Hedland right, South Hedland, and below the Pilbara left. And he said, there used to be a stop sign there. And he said, I said to my wife one day, if ever I work in Port Hedland, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that stop sign pushed even more forward, he said, because it's way back here and the accidents we used to have. But anyway, that's just a little thing about not why he came to the town of Port Hedland, but that was a key issue, and there were so many accidents there. During the tenure of Mr. Chris Adams as the CEO, we got that overpass. Federal government paid $500 million for that overpass, the big overpasses. We got that. But the financials were great. And Port Hedland, town of Port Hedland, had a great beginning with that new CEO. When we have new CEOs, we do have good beginnings. We have great beginnings. That was okay until 6 years after our CEO decided to move on and do a lot of work in Karratha with the royalties for regions, etc. And then later on, I believe, came the CEO of Karratha. So then 2012, 2013, we had another CEO come in and got employed. And I was still a councillor. I did 12 and a half years as 3 terms as a councillor. And so up until my coming off council in 2017. And the CEO that followed Chris Adams then was known to be found to do some strange things with the finances, became very, very public. And also a meeting was called, and our CEO at that time was let go. There was a lot of discrepancies in the finances. It happens all the time. A forensic audit, I do believe, did not take place, but shortly after that time, a new CEO came from Karratha, and Mr. David Pence became the CEO. He had worked for 6 years as the head planner of the Karratha and became the CEO here. That's why you see Karratha is what it is today. It's because he was the head guy in charge of all the planning. But he wanted to go forward, so he became and was employed. And that was not my time. Well, it was my time, but a few months later, 2017, the council changed again. But did not need to have a forensic audit because that CEO, from what I had learnt from reading the finances continue, went through and found so much money that was in the coffers, when I was a councillor, didn't know it was there, brought forward and moved our town again so much forward. It was like, hello, the light has been opened again. All right, so I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a picture. All right. I then applied for council. We had your council dissolved. We know why the council was let go in 2019. We know that because of a member of our council resigning. The quorum was lost. They were not dissolved. They were not sacked. They were not just let go. It was because the quorum was lost. And people need to get that in their head. They were not sacked. 2020, I applied for council again, and I did do through 3 years. And I can say it was one of the three most difficult years I'd ever spent in all my time on council. I'm sorry to say that, but I've said it openly before on the microphone as well. Just after being on council, we had the demise of the building company MJW. We know what happened in our town. And I'm bringing your attention back to those small businesses which were talked about on the radio just these last few nights. Those small businesses are still not being paid. Town of Port Hedland has survived because, you know, there was ways and means what they do. But those small businesses still, they've lost their houses. They've moved their families on. And a motion was moved to have a forensic audit done because of the MJW and other companies, but it did not get passed. And it should have got passed. What we're seeing with the finances tonight is still now, to me, worrying. I'm concerned. Yes, I was a ratepayer in Port Hedland. My circumstances changed several years ago when my partner passed. And then I'm not a ratepayer anymore, but I'm still a resident of Port Hedland. I still spend a lot of time, and Port Hedland is my time. In fact, I find it quite difficult to leave Port Hedland because I haven't found the exit button. But the way I feel over the last 3 years is the exit button seems to be getting a little bit closer to me to push, to leave. And it disappoints me that I may be leaving a town that I love in the near future. But I want to urge councillors that to have a forensic audit might be looking at all the finances inside, but it's worked before. It's given the council a clean bill of health. Even our new Director of Finance has come into the middle of a lot of things, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Steve, your finance guy, personally. But I'm quite sure sometimes he might be scratching his head and wondering what has been going on here. Because a lot of people do, and a lot of people that's lived in this town for a fair while have actually said there obviously is problems. And people who've got businesses, they know what it's like to run a business. You've got people on council who own businesses. You know what your finances are. You know what is. So please, I think our town, before something happens again, and will another commissioner come in? Because that's the picture I'm seeing. I hope I'm wrong. I just want our council to prosper. And I think that there's an awful lot on the books that you want to have done, and I don't think there's the finances there to do it from what I'm reading. I just want our council to work together as a council, but I think you need a clean bill of health. And I'm saying you need to be thinking of, please, to consider having a forensic audit so that you can have a clean bill of health. A clean bill of health for our council. I just wanted you to have that picture, and thank you for listening to me tonight and letting me speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Do we have any more public statements at all? Okay, I will close public statement time at 6:15 p.m. 6.3, petition, deputation, presentations and submissions. There is none. Question number 7, question for members without notice. Are there any questions from elected members?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councillor.
Can I ask? Was there any paperwork on 15.1 tonight? I don't have it in
the confidential attachment, Councillor?
Yeah, no, it's not in here, and I've looked in here. I don't have the confidential. I've looked everywhere. Can I get a copy of that? Can someone print it off for me or something? That'd be good if I could get that before the end of the. Now.
So you didn't receive it, Councillor?
I don't have it on my.
We'll get the government staff.
I've got everything else.
Okay, we'll get copies made.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Now.
Sorry.
I think Councillor Rebello is saying in the agenda feedback session, in the confidential section of that report, the information is there.
Okay, I can have a look in there and see if it's there.
Didn't change between there and the tonight's agenda.
All right. Now, my next question, look, we received a letter from the DLGA in relation to the suspension of the council. I asked questions in, I think it was November, the first time I asked for the report. Now, we've received a letter from the Department of Local Government stating that there was no report done into the suspension of the council. So, can I ask an additional question of the department? Could I get the administration to send them this question and get an answer for me? And that is that considering that Palingili, and I did ask this question in November, Palingili and Port Hedland were suspended at the same time. Palingili and Port Hedland lost the quorum, and that's why the council was dissolved, both of them. So the issues are exactly the same. Palingili did get an official report done into the suspension because the minister used that part of the act. So I need to know why Port Hedland did not receive a report and Palingili did receive a report. What is the difference between us? We might be special, so I need to know why we're special. And the other reason is I think, you know, it is good for the ratepayers to know this because the suspension cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. As a matter of fact, I think it was probably well over the million, might have been a couple of $1 million because we had to pay the commissioner, you know, and there was a lot of other stuff that was going on behind the scenes. So it costs ratepayers a lot of money, and we need to have some answers in that. So can I get that question asked of the DLG and DLGA, and thanks. Now, I just want to crack a joke. I don't, you know, because it's a great joke, and I don't know whether I should say it, but the question from the public, Gillian, in relation to massages and $9,000. I'm just wondering whether, you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Please, Councillor,
Okay.
Tom, Councillor, don't.
That's okay.
Councillor, don't.
I didn't say anything.
That's all, okay? Thank
Okay,
you.
that's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Thank you for stopping there. Thank you very much. Okay, councillors, do you have any more? Yeah, councillor questions, sorry.
So I've got a few questions here. So my first question relates to 12.4.1, item Cook Point Shared Footpath. I was lucky enough to ask a few questions that needed to go back and be verified on the briefing. And I had a good conversation today with the director, so I just wanted to allow the opportunity if Lee can explain to the fellow councillors what she explained to me, being the fact that it was last minute and I wasn't able to get communication out, please.
Yeah, certainly.
Thank you.
Lee, would you like to answer that?
So when the footpath went for engineering design, the pre-tender estimate has come back more than we had anticipated. What we have done is contacted the WNBA, which is the WABN, which is the Western Australian Bicycle Network, who are funding half the cost of that for us. What they have said to my staff is that when you put it out for tender and know the true cost of the footpath, then they will look favourably to fund half of the overall cost of that project, which is over and above of what they have already said the council they will give the council for the footpath.
Okay, thank you, Director. Is that okay, Councillor?
Yeah, thank you. Just a further question through to the CEO, if I may, through the Chair. In relation to the 12.4.1 again, just wanted to verify and confirm my understanding of this motion being the fact that we are only endorsing concept design and we're not throwing extra money into budget to make this project go ahead. Just wanted to clarify and confirm, please.
CEO?
No, you're correct, Councillor. As per the recommendation, it is for concept designs only at this point. The officers will need to then take that matter out for tender, and that tender will come back to council for full costing once we know that response.
That's okay, Councillor? Yep, okay, thank you, Councillor. Do you have any more questions, Councillors?
Yes,
Yes,
I have
Councillor
a question.
Hudson.
Through to the Mayor, through the Chair. I'm just wondering when the reports to Council will be coming, that the question that I asked at the last Council meeting, from your meetings.
What questions are there?
When, on the previous Council, I asked about the meetings that you'd had and when the reports were going to come back to Council with the meetings that you had. Oh.
It's your meeting.
Yeah, I actually sent a letter out to all the councillors from last week regarding my meetings.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yes, Councillor Rentz.
I've just got one, just concerning to the one of the tender contracts. It's RFT 2122-07. I just want to know, has that been extended? This, for reference, it's the pressure force cleaning contract that we've got in town, the two-parter. I just want to know because by my calculations, it should have finished up in February or been put up for extension, and it's still going ahead. I'm not sure. Did it get extended or amended or something with it? The pressure force cleaning for majority of everything. It started in 2022, February 2022, and it was only for 2 years.
I think it had some extensions. I think it was 2 + 1 + 1, but we'll clarify that.
I think we'll take it on notice, Councillor,
Yeah.
because we have a number of contracts with pressure force.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any more, Councillor?
Yes, sorry, I just had one more.
Yes.
In relation to 12.4.2, the Spoilbank Marina Development landslide agreements. Again, this is hoping just through to yourself, CEO, just for some further clarification to ensure I'm understanding, but wanted to ensure that we are going to ensure that commercial terms of the agreement that we are voting on will be fulfilled before we release any JDAP conditions to anybody, please.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. Yes, councillors, in the officer recommendation, there are 5 points as part of Part 3. They are all conditions that need to be met. I think the JDAP condition is under D, and that is one part of the 5, but all 5 will need to be met before we clear the JDAP condition.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Do you have any more questions, Councillors? Yes, Councillor Christensen.
Not a question, but a statement. I definitely won't be making a joke about nothing. I've got faith that something else will be done at the closure of this meeting, but just wanted to take the opportunity to reach out and wish bon voyage to one of our directors. Craig, for those that don't know, Craig Watts will be leaving us. This is his last OCM. I think it's a pretty important relationship that we create with the ELT. And again, there's been many nights that I've relied on you answering your phone at silly hours and some stupid questions that I do ask to verify your crazy world. So again, personally for myself, thanks very much for your support, and I can't wish you guys, you and your family, all the best in your new location. So thanks for all the help.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Okay, number 8. Presiding members' meetings for the month of March 2024 are printed in the agenda. On to number 9. I invite all elected members to declare a show of hands that they've given due consideration to all matters contained within the agenda. May I have a show of hands, please? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7. 2. Okay, number 8. Sorry?
No, Councillor Christensen did not raise his hand.
No, because here's something. Yeah. Okay, it's okay. Thank you. Number 10, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. We'll now consider the officer's recommendation to confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of March 2024 are a true and correct record. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Rentz. Thank you very much. I have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Rebello. Is there anyone against the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Before we move on to reports of committees and officers, I remind members of the public not to take any action on council decision on items on this evening's agenda in which they may have an interest until formally notified in writing by the town has been received. Decisions made at this meeting can be revoked in line with Local Government Act 1995. Item number 4, reports from communities. 11.1, 11.1.1, the Audit Risk Compliance Committee. We have an office recommendation before us that requires a simple majority vote. That council receives the uniform minutes of the Special Audit and Risk Compliance Committee held on the 15th of April 2024. Can I have a mover, please?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Move. Thank you, Councillor Blanco. Will I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Rentz. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Is it? Yes, okay. 11.1.2, audit finance statement for 2022-2023. The council, 1, receives the audit annual report. Is that right? Sorry, see, I'm just double checking that. Sorry, see, it's okay. Okay. At the Audit Risk Finance Committee meeting on April 2024, the committee reviewed alternative motion to the officer's recommendation in relation to the audit financial statements for the 2022-2023. That is recommended a simple majority vote that is put before us. The council, 1, receives the audit annual financial report, independent audit closing report for the management letter of the audited findings and the financial year ending 30 June 2023. And 2, do not adopt the audit annual financial report, independence audit closing report and management letter audit findings for the financial report ended 30 June 2023. And 3, recommend that council conduct an independent forensic review to the town's procedures, procurement procedures and compliance with the laws and regulations within the 2021-22 and the 2022-23 budgets. And 4, recommend that council conduct an independent review into the delegated authority process within the 2021-22 and the 2022-23 budgets. And 5, recommend that council applies appropriate resources that funds this independent review. And 6, recommend that council conducts an independent review on credit card, fuel cards, sundry payments for 2022-2023 budgets. The original officer's recommendation is listed under option 1. The original offer recommended is listed under option 1 of the alternative report. I foreshadow that the council consider if the officer's recommended committee recommends or not, is not supported. So can I have a mover, please?
Point of order through the
Mr.
chair.
Mayor,
Yep. I do,
Can I just please ask for, so not a point of order, but more of a clarification on where we stand?
yes,
Are you calling for the Audit Risk and Compliance recommendation motion, and then you're going to foreshadow the officer's recommendation? Is that correct?
yes, working on the officer's recommendation first.
No, that's not what you just said.
Just double check. Committee recommendation, yes, okay.
So we're going to do a committee recommendation,
Yes,
and you're going to foreshadow the officer's recommendation?
yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr.
Okay,
Mayor,
so I need to move,
I'll
yes.
move the audit risk and compliance recommendation.
Okay, is there a seconder? Is anyone against? Yes? Okay. Okay, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council should be well aware of, you know, the reasons why an alternate recommendation has come to the council, and the council needs to make a decision on the financial management of the town of Port Hedland. And I've outlined many issues relating to the finances. Obviously, my opinion differs from the executive opinion, and why wouldn't it? They are stating everything is above board, but just so you know, I'm giving you real-time examples of real issues that have been dismissed. Now, these issues are not $10 issues. They relate to millions of dollars. And the audit report itself can be easily interpreted as passable for the council. And looking at the audit report, the executive summary, page 3, it states that the audit procedures were designed to support our auditor's report and cannot be expected to identify all weaknesses or inefficiencies in your system and your working practices, which, you know, is a fair comment from the auditor, considering, you know, that year we spent $180 million. The auditor's report said under insignificant matters on page 3 again. The report states, in the opinion of the Auditor General, there was no significant matters that came to their attention. And I obviously questioned them on this. But in the previous statements, they have said that they can't be expected to identify all weaknesses and inefficiencies. And the OAG has confirmed that they did not investigate any issues that I submitted in the complaint to the OAG before being elected on council, and that was not their responsibility. In the findings and conclusions of the auditor, the auditor was unable to find sufficient appropriate evidence regarding completeness and accuracy of the town's asset management system, and were unable to conclude if the infrastructure assets have been accounted for in all respects. Now, what does that mean to me? Well, it means that our long-term financial plan cannot accurately predict the expenditure needed on the maintenance of all of our assets. So we think we have spare money to spend in other areas, when in actual fact, we should be spending it on the maintenance and replacement of our current assets. And what that does, it puts us behind creating further financial burdens to the ratepayers as years go on. And we were in that position pre-2015, where we had no money all of our assets were end of life, we're in a bit of a mess. Now, another point on the audit report is management overrides of controls, which is a significant finding. You know, it says in there, journal entries with no evidence of review or approval. Now, you know, to me, that's a pretty significant statement if you understand what, you know, goes on with local government and journal entries into, you know, the financial system. Now, also, that relates to the Synergysoft and the TechOne software as well. So you should also consider the discussion at the ARC meeting where I went into some detail about my concerns. And you should also consider the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were funneled into an organisation that members of this council or a member of this council works for, and ask if that was ethical or appropriate, and should it be looked into or should it not be looked into? So that's a decision that you should make. Do you think that that was correct? Do you think that's the way we should be doing our business? Now, we should be agreeing with the audit committee's recommendations to do a forensic audit. We should be applying the appropriate funds to make it happen. We should be allowing the audit committee to select the forensic auditors and engage with the auditors on the scope of the review. And this should be done in the interest of the people that elected you, not the person that we have employed to run the administration. We represent the people and the ratepayers of the town. And in my experience, growing up in Hedland and living here, and those of you that have, you know, you should understand that Port Hedland hasn't, you know, developed very well over the last 3 or 4 decades because, you know, we haven't really had very good financial management. And the examples obviously are stated many times, and you know, the look at Karratha and look at us. And I hate to say it, but you know, the facts of the matter are, you know, quite obvious. So I encourage the council to support the recommendation of the audit committee, and you know, and see whether I am, you know, correct, or you know, whether I'm not. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Blanco. Councillor Button. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, no further comments.
Okay, thank you. So anyone against the motion? Okay, Councillor Christensen. You.
By all means, I'm more than happy to speak. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. While I don't completely disagree with some of the sentiments raised by Councillor Blanco in relation to being some apprehension and some thoughts that there are gaps within our systems, within our finances, I think it would be crazy to think that with as big a system as we've got, with the amount of money that we do handle, there are no gaps to be identified. I'm just concerned that this current audit risk and compliance recommendation is in a way hypocritical in itself, in the way it's worded. And I say that because I currently feel that right now we are holding the audited financial statements of 22-23 hijacked and on ransom. My concern is if we can't adopt these finances today, because we need to go and do 3, 4, 5 and 6, my suggestion is that's going to take a hell of a lot of time to get to the outcome and an answer before us to provide a response. So first and foremost, I just don't think this recommendation makes sense on that very premise. We've had members of our community come and talk to us recently, and members are here tonight, stating that they want to see, when is our AGM going to be held? When are these figures going to be released? Well, unfortunately, we cannot release these figures until this happens. Now, I think it's pretty important for those who don't understand that the annual finance reports are prepared not just by people doing a job, but they're done in accordance to accounting standards, the Local Government Act of 1995, the Local Government Regulations 96, and people are being held to those standards. So, my encouragement is that we don't stick to this compliance recommendation, that we actually adopt the officer's recommendation, because again, the simple fact that we are stating here in this very motion that we want to go back and review 21, 22 and 22, 23 also suggests that even after these are endorsed or adopted for this word, that again, we can still go back as per the request right now to 21, 22, 22, 23 and review the 22, 23s. Allowing the administration to do what we need to do, call it AGM, provide these figures and actually present these reports to the appropriate authorities. I encourage members who are clearly passionate about the situation that we have other avenues that we can use, aka bringing up a individual motion standalone to call for this to happen if you're that inclined to allow that to happen. Therefore, we can allow that conversation and that debate to take its place without jeopardising the intent of the original motion, which I think this has done. And therefore, allowing councillors to adequately, appropriately prepare for a debate that's on those exact matters. Because I believe what you're asking for, independent auditors of closing reports and stuff, don't relate to the audited financial statements, in my personal opinion. So, a bit long-winded, a bit around the place, but again, purely and simply, again, I prefer to go with the officer's recommendation and then address this as a team, because again, respectfully to the member who has spoken already, this has not been spoken about as a team yet. The team has been spoken to, the team has been directed to, and the team has been insulted on a number of occasions, instead of actually sitting together, as we say we should, and have a team conversation to address the concerns that are being presented tonight. So, again, I'll encourage everybody to go with the officer's recommendation with the intent, and I'll support the intent to, if you wish to, let's bring that to the group conversation so we can see where the council sits with that request, because I don't see, again, why it should be in this specific item. So that's me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Yes, Councillor Turner.
I feel conflicted. We've had two meetings, both the ARC and tonight, where Councillor Blanco has made reference to somebody sitting at the chamber in receipt of hundreds of thousands of dollars, or their organisation. Who he's referring to is myself, as an employee for my organisation, Royal Life. I agree with Councillor Christensen in terms of the importance of moving this forward. What I will say is that I would welcome any audit, review, investigation of the business relationship that exists between Town of Port Hedland and the Royal Life Saving Society of WA. My understanding, based on the information that I've researched, is that over the last 3 financial years, going 21, 22, 22, 23, this current, Royal Life has most notably received in excess of $200,000 in a fee-for-service basis. So not as a grant, not as a partnership agreement, but as a fee-for-service in terms of delivering a range of services to the town, as we do any other local shire across the state. So I just want to clarify that, because I feel that there's a bit of mud being thrown at me, a bit of mud being thrown at the organisation, and I think that's grossly unfair. I think you need to call it out for what it is. if you think there is some corruption or mismanagement or malpractice, put in the complaint, initiate the investigation. I'm happy with that. So I felt like I need to speak to that tonight because I feel I don't feel good about it. So anyway, that's my decision, and I'm happy for that process to sit alongside whatever we move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone else for? Anyone else against?
I'll go speak for. I'm also a bit conflicted as well. Don't really know where to sit on this. I appreciate everyone's comments. Deputy Mayor, about it being held ransom and we can't move forward until we get it done. Originally I just wanted to support the Audit and Risk Compliance Committee, and just to sort of reiterate that essentially that they are the team in the trenches doing the extra work. I know it's a lot to take on, as Deputy Mayor has said, that it is a big job. So I definitely commend them for it. It wouldn't be easy. And they're doing the extra work to essentially, that is their job, is to protect us as a council and as a town. I see the recommendation not to adopt the report as a bit of a call to action. It indicates that we have identified potential weaknesses that warrant a bit of a closer look, and in no way, shape or form is it an admission of failure or by any means a witch hunt, as far as I can see it, but a testament to our dedication to continue to improve. Also a review of the delegated authority processes, I believe it's pretty important. It's imperative that our procedures align with the laws and regulations to avoid any potential conflicts. We need to guarantee that authority granted aligns with the best interests of our community and it's done with integrity. Again, as I said, I don't believe that it is, or if there's any malice or issues. I just sort of want to make sure that we are 100% in what we're doing, and what we're doing is the correct thing, and we'd rather know about it now than later on down the track. So yeah, that's sort of all I've got on that. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is anyone against? Yes. Well.
There are 5 points that I would like to present. The first one is to note, and this is page number 28 of our compliance audit return, that this audit return is an evidence-based methodology. So they are showing evidence that sorry?
Speaking on the wrong item, he said. He's given you some advice, I think.
No.
I'll continue, Councillor.
No, there is relevance to it. The financial report has been audited, right, by an external auditor. So there is a point there. I'm referring to a different item, but there is a link there. So the financial report has been audited by an external auditor. So not only has the town internally audited it, but there has been an external auditor that has audited, and the audit methodology is evidence-based. So that is point number 1. Point number 2 is that you mentioned that the auditors had questions regarding asset management, and I attended the meeting on the day, and what the auditors explained was that it was more to do with a technical matter in terms of valuation, and they explained, they took one topic, like the valuation of the airport, and they said that it was more a technical thing and not that it was something going wrong. So that is point number 2. Point number 3, you've mentioned that how do we ensure that we are replacing our assets? Well, that is what depreciation is for, to ensure that your assets, that you have that to replace your assets at the end of its life. Point number 4. And so the ARC has 3 members. There was one member you are the chair of it, Councillor Blanco, and you have your points which you made, which is fair. You have your right to make the points. And then it was moved by another member, but she did not speak to it. And then she has voted against it. My question would be, I don't know what were the reasons for moving it, and then what were the reasons for voting against it. So for me, there is one person who is for it and one against it. So I'm just putting it out there to you. And lastly, if you feel that there has been a malpractice, something gone wrong, then I too would say, like others have said, that please put in a complaint. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ravallo. Anyone else against? Anyone else for? I'd like to sum up.
Sure. So one thing that we need to remember when it comes to audits in local government is that we seem to think that audits cover all aspects of the financial system each year. The audits don't cover the majority of it. Bits of testing is done in little areas. And in my experience with local government, those little areas of tests are done in the most perfect area of the financial area of the local government finance. It never seems to be done in the areas that actually have problems. And for the auditor to say to me they haven't looked at issues that have been outlined in a complaint and it's not their responsibility, I'm just wondering whose responsibility is it? And clearly it comes down to the likes of the Audit and Finance Committee and then the Council. We are the ones that are supposed to ensure that the finances are spent effectively and efficiently. And if we have problems with the way the finances have been spent, then we need to implement things to ensure that we understand it or that things are investigated. Now, just an example on how things do not or are not, or how the rules are not followed. And it seems to be, this is something that everybody hates me for, right? But I'll give you an example. Just in tonight's meeting, if a council member has a financial interest in a matter, it's clear. The Act states they need to declare the financial interest and then leave the room. So if a council member is speaking on behalf of their employer because, something has been given to their organisation from the local government, then clearly to me that seems like a financial interest. But those things seem to slide in this council or in this organisation. And nobody really holds anyone to account when it comes to, the obvious. I'll just talk about, the payments made to Royal Lifesaving, and I did look because the very first meeting that I attended, I asked for a list of payments. So the maximum amount of payment that's been made to each creditor, the big list, and we're allowed to have that and have a look at it. All right, so in 21-22, Royal Lifesaving got 20 to 30,000. In 22-23, they got over 200,000. This is the one that I'm talking about. And then in 23-20, currently it's still a small amount from the the list of payments that I've received. So that's the town's information. So as a member, why wouldn't I ask questions? That's my job. All right? There might not be nothing wrong with it. But the example I gave previously was that, you know, we gave the Chamber of Commerce, you know, $270,000. All right? That had to come to council for approval. So where is the process in this? Because I don't see any council decisions being made on this. Now, where does it stop? You know, as council members, we need to make that decision. Where does it stop? If I've given you plenty of examples, you've listened to me in the meetings. I've actually stated this stuff in our briefings. Where does it stop? And, you know, what do we do? Do we just sweep it under the carpet? Or do we actually implement a program to actually have a look? And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if I'm wrong, it's egg on my face, and then everybody else is fine. But I have been trained in local government stuff. There's so much, I've done so much training, you know, it is crazy the amount of training that I've done. And all of the training suggests that the things that I'm looking at are incorrect. So we need to look into them. And again, like I say, I urge councillors to support the motion. And, you know, let's try and find out what really is going on here, because if we don't pass this motion, I can tell you right now, it will be the same as every other year, and that is that it all just gets swept under the carpet and nothing happens, and we'll be talking about this again next year, the year after, and the year after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blanco. We'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? 4. Those against? 4. There's the casting vote also. So it's right for you. You have to go against the officer recommendation. Yes, that's right. Okay, thank you, councillors. Motion is lost. Yep. Okay, moving on.
You foreshadowed the officer recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
It's on page 27.
27.
We'll just get them to call it up on the screen. Can you call up the officer recommendation?
Yep. That one there, that's it there. Is it have an item number also, yeah? Same item number, okay. Okay, can I get a mover please on the Dr. Officer's recommendation, please? Move, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Can I get a seconder, please? Officer's recommendation. Yep. Okay, Councillor Rebello. Okay. Is anyone against that? Mr. Blanco. Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks again for everyone for the debate. We'll go for round 2, and again, as Councillor Blanco said before, see if I can change people's minds. I can sense some frustrations and some disappointment, not just from the galley, but from around the table. Again, I want to make my stance very clear that, again, if councillors feel strongly about this. There are more avenues available to them instead of hijacking an existing motion. The previous motion spoke through the rationale of being able to backtrack to be able to have these audits and these investigations conducted if they felt required. All my training that I've had, talking about training, all the training that I've conducted and had in the last 2.5 years that I've been here, has always been around the rationale about data, detail, conversations, and group meetings with the team to a motion. The audit report, the report that was there, had zero information in relation to exactly what they wanted to investigate from a forensic audit. It's one thing just to say I want a forensic audit, but it'd be more detailed, more understanding, and again, I think a standalone motion might answer that for the individuals if they still feel, I guess, propelled and wanting to do that. As I mentioned before, all these audits are done and prepared in accordance with accounting standards and as per the Local Government Act. We have some deadlines to meet as well to hold ourselves to account to the correct reporting frameworks, etc. I think this needs to be taken on notice, as this is not the first time we've had decisions made at the death door knock at this level. I think it's onus on us to take this challenge on ourselves and go, well, clearly every part of this year we have questions in relation to this. So maybe I can challenge the ARC committee to maybe look into the timeframes in which we want to talk about, or at least start the conversation with in relation to this. But again, I don't see any major reasons to go through and to vote against this motion, as it's been explained in the report as well that we've provided with. The people that do the audits provide an opinion, and I appreciate the fact that it's an opinion, but these are people that deal with local government authorities on a daily basis, talking about numbers and looking at these reports on a regular basis. So I am content to read their reports and look at what they're saying, and again, that they have identified several matters that require reflection and some adjustments. So it's not like they haven't found anything, and I don't disagree with you, Councillor Blanco, to sit there and think that, again, if there was more looking into something, that we might find other avenues, and I appreciate the fact that the report won't cover everything. But again, if this local government authority was to do as detailed investigation each and every year, we would never be able to issue reports to the right people at the right timeframes, because we'll be here forever chasing our tails. You made a statement just previously about being an audit and finance committee. Again, it's only a small thing, but you're the audit, risk and compliance committee. So again, while I appreciate, yes, you got an important job to ensure that, again, we are diligently looking through finances. Again, I don't see enough information not to pass these figures and these reports as they are presented. But again, as per Councillor Turner as well, I welcome and encourage councillors to utilise their ability and their powers, if they really feel that passionate about it, to present it in another way, and not hold this hijacked. So again, thanks for that, and I'll leave it for everybody else to have a say, and then I guess I'll close it up later. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Christian. Councillor Rebello.
Firstly, I would like to thank Councillor Blanco for going into the details and for chairing the ARC committee. I will not repeat what has already been said, but I would like to speak to one of the points that you have brought out tonight, Councillor Blanco, and that is to do with why did the Chambers of Commerce, why did that come to council? Now, my understanding is that for a number of years, that the agreement with the Chamber of Commerce has been in place for a number of years. However, if it is under the 50,000 mark, then it doesn't come to council. But council has now approached, has now wanting to have a longer term approach, and has had agreements with SAFE, one with Care for Headland, and in the same spirit was having one with Chambers of Commerce. And that is why, and because it was a 3-year big budget, higher than 50,000, that is why it came to council. So I'm just clarifying that, like I'm speaking to that. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Rebello. Is anyone against the motion? Yes, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I see. I hear this all the time. It's quite hilarious for me. I agree with you, but I'm going to vote against you. Now, I checked the last committee's attendance time in the council records. And, you know, I suppose the last few meetings that we've had, I think they've run for a couple of hours each, you know, so we've been debating what's going on in the, in the ARC or the audit and risk. I might be saying it wrong because, you know, I'm just used to what we used to call it, you know, I'm still not up to date, obviously, with the new terms because they keep changing all the time. But, you know, it's a great effort that the last committee, you know, averaged 7 minutes a meeting. And so there must have been a lot of, you know, research that went into that. The Chamber of Commerce example, you know, geez. You know, under 50K, yeah, the administration might accept, you know, or might do it without council's approval. But when you have a council member on, or a council member that works for somebody that the council is giving money to, and it's over the 200K, it's just good practice to bring it to council. So then the public don't seem to think that there's any, you know, funny business going on behind the scenes. It's just good practice. That's all it is. And that's what should be happening. I clearly do not understand why there's been so many examples given and the council does not want to support an investigation into where your ratepayers' money is going. And to me, you know, that just doesn't sit well. And clearly the, you know, the council, as has shown in the previous item that was lost, does not accept the advice that I have been providing to them. So, in light of that, I will be resigning as the chair of the audit committee, and I hope that one of you put your hand up to lead that committee. All right, and I hope that one of the one of you that do put your hand up spend more than 7 minutes in a meeting. Okay, so I'll make that official now. I will be resigning on the audit committee. I will not be attending any more audit committees as the chair. So CEO, obviously we're in debate, so you don't need to answer me, but clearly I'll be sending you an email, and I will be officially resigning from the committee, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of happy people about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blanco. Anyone else for? Anyone was against? Okay, you'd like to sum up, Councillor Christensen?
Right, not much to talk through the debate, so I'll go through some of the items that were raised. I'm going to talk against the concept and your words just then in relation to 7 minutes on average per meeting. In the comparison to yours where you're saying that multiple hours represents a good meeting. So first and foremost, I take homage to the fact that you assume that due to the public nature of meetings that I, as a former member of that committee, didn't give it any due consideration or, as you said, research provided. I'd welcome you to go back and request from the administration time spent in the briefing beforehand. That was always questioned, there was always debate, and there was always challenging of these people. So again, The fact that you sit there and assume that 7 minutes is great, I challenge that. On the simple fact that, again, your suggestion that multiple hours equals a good meeting, I'll draw a reference to someone who's had so much training in relation to the standing orders. It is impossible, and I'll say again, it is impossible to have a meeting that go for so many hours when very clearly the standing orders state you are limited to how much you talk in debate. You have 5 minutes with an availability of an extra 5 at the discretion of the presiding members, and it states very clearly you shall not pass that time frame. So while I appreciate that you think a meeting is a measurement of its time taken to your dedication provided, is completely, in my opinion, absolutely uncalled for. And again, do I say I've got everything right while I was in that meeting? I beg to differ that I've made some mistakes in my time. I've got no doubt about that. I don't think just because you're provided the opportunity to sit on a committee or a council that you automatically, magically become capable and apt at that job. Now, that's no excuse for the job not getting done to your opinion and to your standards. So, much to your thoughts, I actually beg to differ what you've just said recently about there'll be a lot of happy people around this table that you step down. I'm personally disappointed that you would step down, as I think that you do have, and I'll say it publicly, I'm not afraid to say it publicly, that you hold yourself with some great ideas and some great concepts, but I think you let yourself down by some of the way you go about and the way you deliver, which is the biggest problem we've had when it comes to your conversations in relation to your opinions and what you would like to express. Not once have I seen you present to this board in a meeting to help us to understand where you're coming from. It's been brought up with you many times, and I'm sorry, but it's disappointing that this is where it's got to. But again, I will not rest on my laurels and allow people to, I guess, spread mistruths around my commitment and my dedication provided during the time. I'll allow other council members and other people of that committee to have their say if they wish to at a later date. But I wanted to stand categorically that, again, the officer's recommendation, in my opinion, should be followed through to allow us to move to these next set of items of agendas, so we can allow the members of our rate base to come have a conversation with us and what they feel at the end AGM and onwards. Again, I've not stood here and said I'm going to be against any motion. If you want to go and write a motion for as it stands, provide evidence as we will see a normal motion written, and then we will allow an informed debate to take place, not one hijacking a motion that it should stand for. So again, I'm going to stand here and suggest that all council members endorse and support the officer's recommendation, and then I guess we'll see what comes from the discussions after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Go now, put it to the vote. All those in favour? 5. All those against? 5-3. Yep. Okay, thank you, councillors. Go back to the... CEO. Okay. 11.1.3, the 2023 compliance audit return. At the Audit Risk Finance Compliance Committee on the 15th of April 2024, the committee considered officer's recommendation. The motion was lost to 1. Officer's recommendation now before us that council consider that requires a simple majority vote and reads: 1. That council notes the outcome of the 2023 compliance audit return, and 2. Notes the actions of the town will undertake to ensure future compliance, and 3. Adopt the 2023 compliance audit return, and 4. Authorises the Mayor and the Chief Executive Officer to submit the town compliance audit return 2023 to the Department of Local Government, Sport and Culture Industries by the 31st of March 2024. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, mover. Can I move a please for that? No move. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. May I have a second, please? Thank you, Councillor Rebello. Is anyone against the motion? Okay, Councillor Christensen.
Unfortunately, we had a fairly quick conversation in relation to this during the agenda briefing. We didn't have any of our ARC members present at this meeting, which I would have loved to question and gain some more further understanding at the time frame that was provided to us. Unfortunately, for extenuating circumstances, members were not able to make it. So I'm going to, for now, rest, allowing those against to put their points forward, and then I guess I can speak to it at my closing. So thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Councillor Ravello?
Right. As I've said before, the audit was done on an evidence-based methodology. The compliance rate was 93%, and for the ones where there is scope of improvement, my understanding is that the department will work, that the internal department, finance department, will work on those improvements. So is that right? Yes. And secondly, that this has to be, it is a requirement that it needs to be presented. So I would say that we better not hold this up and we go ahead with it. And I would like to hear what you have to say against Councillor Blanco. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ravello. Is anyone against that motion? Yes, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You'd like to hear what I have to say about it. I've talked to the council about this on a number of occasions. Obviously, the council was not listening. But the compliance audit return, is a legislated requirement. They must fill it out, and insert the truth into it. This goes to the Department of Local Government so they can find out what, whether there's been any non-compliances within that year period. The compliance audit return is for the calendar year, not the financial year. So we know, and I've said this many times, we know that there's an issue with the Yandeo Road tender. Within the compliance audit return, there is a section for tenders. Okay, so we know that it wasn't advertised. We know that the tender, that there was no money in the budget. We know that the tender was issued over the delegated amount. On it goes. So there is a requirement there that the report needs to show there was non-compliances. And within the report, in the tendering area of the document, there is no such a statement made in there. Okay, that's all I need to know. The statement hasn't been filled out correctly. Not only hasn't it been filled out correctly, there is major parts of it that are blank because we didn't actually receive the final audit. But considering it's out, considering it's not, we're not compliant with putting it to the Department of Local Government, and we have received the audit report, why wouldn't it have been filled out? Look, as the ex-chair of the Audit and Finance Committee and the current chair, when I did recommend that this was not endorsed, I cannot, with the things I know about local government finance, I cannot and will not approve a document that tells the council to endorse something that is clearly incorrect. So if the council wants to do that, I'm happy that they, they can overrule it, and then they can, send the compliance audit return off to the Department of Local Government with those areas that we know are incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blanco. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Not to sum up,
Righto. Bit perplexed at some of the statements you just made, as I was always under the assumption that we always had a budget item initially in that budget for a one of those what do they call them? It's a it's not Steel Road, but it's like a the name eludes me. It was the statement I'm making is I believe that there was money in the budget. Do I believe it was to the dollar value that was after the fact, and therefore other problems exist? I'm not stating that, but a little bit complex and bewildered as to where do we stop and where do we start with every little detail, every little check and balance that has to be had. We allow experts to come in to do their job as best they can as per standards. If there are concerns in relation to specific areas of this concern, I'm assuming there are other avenues that we can go down to see the legitimacy of those claims. I'm yet to see any reports or any findings from said investigation and or consideration. Again, I don't doubt there might be some concerns and issues, as you know, previous members of this council who were here once before in the room and the ones who sit around me now will know that I've myself sent in pages upon pages of questions when it comes to finances and use of money and how it worked. Again, onus on every individual here to go and do that research himself, like Councillor Blanco clearly has. But again, my concern is this understanding and this consideration where it will be, a direction will be followed because I say so, instead of bringing us along on a journey, as I've said before, with our ELT and our administration. It's important that any member here tonight making a decision is a part of a decision. And that includes meetings that we have together where, unfortunately to say, it's not always taken up to have team meetings. And I'm not confused, and I understand why we get to this position where we have divided debate and people not understanding exactly, because this is a lot of information to take on in the space of 20 seconds, or 5 to 10 minutes to an hour, sometimes it depends on who's talking, in a debate. If we are very serious about this becoming a big issue, then I would commend and I would encourage every councillor to make themselves available as many meetings as possible. I know it's a hard thing to ask for, but again, we sat on this board to commit to dedicate our time to make this happen. And I'm baffled to see the amount of times that we don't catch up together as a team to have this conversation and have it out so we can understand everyone's perspective. So, and if people wish to keep leaving it to a meeting that's live streamed and in front of public, then again, I can't do much about that, but respond in the way that I can with the evidence that's been provided to me factually beforehand, and then I guess respond and react as we do every other meeting like we are now. So again, all I can do is encourage that we support the officer's recommendation, and for those against, I thoroughly encourage you to raise your points as to why. Help us to understand where your thoughts are and why you think what you do, because otherwise, again, you know, it's kind of hard to debate against an officer's recommendation who are the experts being educated by experts, being provided information by even further experts. So again, appreciate the debate. I know it's not always going to be in everyone's wheelhouse and everyone's likes, but again, thanks very much, and leave it to the vote. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Okay, we'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? 5. All those against? Oh, yeah, 3. Yep. Motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. 12. 12. 12.1 Corporate Services. We have an officer's recommendation before us that council requires a simple majority vote. That council, 1, receive the statement of financial activity, and 2, receive the material variance report, and 3, note that accounts unpaid under the delegated authority, and 4, receive the purchase credit card statement for the period ending March 31, 2024. Can I have a mover, please?
Can I ask a question on this, Mr. Mayor? Can I get some info on the line item on McLeod's legal matters? It talks about legal matters are paid for in relation to the audit committee's powers and functions. Could I get a copy of that legal advice? That was on the 22nd of the 3rd, 24. And also, I wanted to get some detail around, I think I've asked this question before, I don't recall seeing an answer to it, but there's $110,000 being paid to the Care for Headland Group. Can I get an, some sort of information around what that is, council decisions, that sort of stuff, on how we pay them $110,000 annual fee?
Yeah, we'll get that to you, Councillor.
Thanks.
Okay.
And I'll move that, Mr. Mayor.
Move it. Okay. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Butson. So you're against the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. 12.1.2, the Corporate Business Plan Quarter Report 2023-24, Quarter 3. We have an office recommendation before us that requires a simple majority vote. The council received the Corporate Business Plan Quarter Report 2023-24, Quarter 3. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Move. Thank you, Councillor Blanco. I have a seconder, please. Councillor Rents, thank you. Is anyone against the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. 12.2, Community Services 12.2.1, the RFT 2023-24-24 Courthouse Gallery Management Services. We have an office recommendation before us that requires a simple majority vote. The council award the RFT 23-24-24 Courthouse Gallery Contract Management Services to the preferred tender to deliver the gallery management services to the amount of XXX as an annual premium initial 3 years for a period including 1 year plus 1 year optional extension period for the sole discretion of the town.
Through
Yes.
this chair, if I may.
Yes, Councillor Christensen.
Can I please move a procedural motion, thanks?
Yes, certainly.
May I ask that this motion be deferred until the May OCM, please?
Okay, is there a seconder?
Mr. Mayor, before we go to a seconder, or I had some questions on this.
Or you can do it at the next council meeting when it comes up. Yeah. Was there a question?
What was that?
Happy to do the question, yeah.
Questions okay?
Yeah, it's fine, yeah.
I just on the report, look, we spoke about this, and obviously the standard wasn't what we liked. Now the multi-party evaluation report that's in the confidential section on the RFT, it doesn't make any sense. If you have a look at the end column, 20% on this section, 30% on that, comes up to 100%, whatever. If you have a look on the column, to get to the 20%, it goes from 1 to 10 on, the categories within the category, and it's got 0 to 2%, 4%, and then the 10th one is 20%. It doesn't make any sense as to how did they get to the 20%. If you have a look at the confidential bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. So in my opinion, I don't know within that RFT whether they have actually decided that they're going to improve or not. That's from reading the report and looking at that evaluation report. So anyway, can I get some clarification on the multi-party evaluation report? And you'll see what I mean when you read it. Obviously, we're going to take it to the next meeting. That's fine. But the next thing on this one is it's an RFT for 1.8 million. shouldn't it have been an absolute majority? It is a simple majority in here, but we're deciding on a 3-year term that goes over the delegation. I would have thought it would be an absolute. You would just get some clarification on that as well, or.
Sorry, Chair.
Perhaps we'll see how the procedural motion goes. If it defers, we'll review that for you and provide that advice with the clarification.
No worries.
Okay, that's all, Councillor Blakemore? That's all, okay, thank you. Can I get a second for Councillor Christensen's? Shall I? Yeah, Councillor Rentz. Okay, speak to it.
Okay, I want to make something very clear that in no way, shape or form is my request for a deferral a representation of my disdain or my displeasure with what's happened, how it's happened, or anything that's been provided. It's purely and simply that we haven't had, in my opinion, enough conversation in relation to such an important contract that's going to go over potentially the space of 5 years. I did ask for some information, and thanks for the administration for providing that to us and to myself especially. I don't feel like I've had enough time personally, which is why I want to bring it forward now to do the contract and the I guess the severity of what this can provide to our livability in Headland any justice. So again, just requesting that the team see some merit in my request to have it deferred, not only too far, but just until the next month, so we can engage in another conversation as a team. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. We'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you, councillors. 12.3, regular services. There is nil. There you go, Craig. Last council meeting, you didn't get nothing, hey? Parting gift. Wow, that's great. Thank you. 12.4.1, Cookbook Shared Path Endorsed Concept Design. We have an officer's recommendation before us that requires a simple majority vote. The council endorses the concept aligns with 1A and 2A for stage 1 and 2 of the Cook Point Shared Path project. Can I get a mover, please? Thank you,
Mr. Mayor, hang on, I've got some questions on that one. The original budget estimate was 1.2 million.
Correct.
It's increased by 40% already. I think we've got a 1.7 in there. Are you asking to put the additional funds in the 24-25 budget with this item? And if so, how much?
I'll pass it over to Director Lee. She might give you more explanation on that one for you.
So as I explained in the councillors' questions, when we came to engineer it, it took more engineering and it was more expensive than we had thought. We have gone back to the WA Bicycle Network. They are wanting us to tender it so they understand what the true cost is, and they would be happy to, at the pre-tender estimate, to give us a grant for 50%. So that
50%?
50%. So we will, all this is saying what we want to do is look at that the council agreed the concepts and the alignments. We will then come back to council as part of that budget process and with the tender and also the agreement of the WA Bicycle Network, and then we'll have enough money in our budget.
Thank you, Director. Is that okay, Councillor?
Mr. Mayor, the next question on it is the design from JDSI. How did we come to that price? Was that a desktop or was it you know, with local business engagement on getting to that price? Or is this tender going to JDSI?
JDSI were the designers of the footpath, they're not the builders. It will go to tender. The pre-tender estimate was done by a quantity surveyor.
Thank you, Director.
Yeah, okay, so was it a desktop or was it?
The pre-tender estimate was based on the design, the JDSI design.
Thank you, Director.
Okay, I have another question. Look, obviously we know it's around 1.7 million, up from 1.2 million. The report states that this is without detailed design, right? That's not finished, it's coming. And the report also states that the price could be changed because of market conditions when we go to tender. So what I need to know on these things is, how are we putting these numbers together? Because clearly these numbers are very liquid.
Yes. Look, and I think that is the reality of working in the Pilbara. Look, we do a pre-tender estimate from a quantity surveyor, so we have a very detailed concept design. It shows where some of the engineering will need to happen. That we will then test the market, and that will then come back to council for you to make a decision on whether or not we will build it. As I've said previously, and I don't think you were at the briefing, Councillor, when I spoke about it, this is part of the town's foreshore master plans. It's part of the Pilbara Cycling 2050 plans. But it's like everything, is once we test the market, we'll be in a much better position to understand, and then it will come back to council for you to make a decision on whether or not you believe it's a value for money proposition for the town.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Director, thank you. Is that okay, Councillor? Okay, thank you. Can I move it, please, for that item? You second it, please. Thank you, Councillor Rebello. Anyone against it? Motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. (12.4.2) Spaldwick Marina Development Landside Maintenance Agreements. Arrangement, sorry. We have officer recognised before us that requires a simple majority vote. That Council, 1, received notes correspondence dated the 15th of March 2024 from the Pilbara Ports Authority, PPA, titled Spaldwick Marina Development Landside Maintenance JDAP Condition 18. And 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate legal instrument enter over the revised agreement of the Pilbara Ports Authority relating to the terms and conditions of operating the commercial arrangement for landside maintenance operations of the Spaldwick Marina. And 3, notes the intention of the revised agreement with the Pilbara Ports Authority is for the town of Port Hedland to assume responsibility for landside maintenance operations at the Spaldwick Marina following practical completion of the marina or on about the September 2024. The revised agreement being subject to conditions displayed on the screen. Can I get a mover, please?
Mr. Mayor, I have some questions on this.
Yes, Councillor Blanco.
What is the estimated cost of the landside development and the maintenance over the 5-year term?
Director?
I think that the landside component was in the order of $70 million, I think. I can get some clarity on that for you. At the moment, we believe that the landside maintenance will be between 1.8 and $2.3 million a year.
Mr. Mayor, that raises more questions. Here it says the agenda item is specific. All right, it talks about the responsibility for the landside development and maintenance. Now, we just got a a number of 70 million and another number of 1.8 to 2 million per year. Okay, that's fine. So if we're taking this over, I want to know, what are we paying for here? Are we paying the 70 million in the estimated development and maintenance of the proposal as per the JDAP condition 18? Could I get an answer on that?
Just for clarification, Councillor, no, the estimated cost, as the Director indicated, is between 1.8 and 2.3. We won't know until we go to tender, and that's the next step. Once we know that number will be for the 5 years, and it will be funded by the PPA, nothing to do with the capital cost.
Okay, that being the case, we've still got landside development in there. The responsibility for landside development. Okay, we talked about the maintenance, now let's talk about the development. Is the development the 70 million? And are we going to be responsible for the development of the landside from when we take it over?
No, it will be already completed. There'll be a year-long defects liability period.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, again, Mr. Mayor, another one. Yes, we have provided the state government with a considerable amount of money for the landside development of this development. In addition to the original deal where we were only going to provide them $24 million. So, is this a good deal? Are we going to be getting our money back? Because I think we've given them an extra 14 million. Will we be getting our money back, sort of thing, over the 5-year term? Is our money that we're using on this for the maintenance, or do you understand where I'm coming from here?
Not in the first 5 years. The agreement is the PPA will develop the site and will deliver the site, and the PPA will provide the maintenance funding for the first 5 years of that development.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Blackburn. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Was that the $15 million that they were going to pay over the 5 years?
15 million was the original estimate they had for maintenance, yes.
And then we were going to go back and recheck because had been done quite a while ago? Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Rents. Is there anyone against the motion? Just hang around the table. Yes, yes, you can.
So I'm meant to be reading out that with regard to agenda item 12.4.2, Spoilbank Marina maintenance arrangements, I disclose that I have impartiality interest, or rather perceived interest, because my husband works for Pilbara Ports. As a consequence, there might be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Valley. Okay, is anyone against the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. 12.5.1, the adoption of the 2022-23 annual report and setting the date for the annual general meeting for electors. We have offered a recommendation before us that requires a simple majority vote. That Council 1 adopts the 2022-23 annual report, including the audited annual financial statement for the associated notes 2022-23 as per attachment 1 in accordance with section 5.53 of the Local Government Act 1995, and 2, convenes the annual general meeting of electors at 5:30 on the 15th of May 2024 in Council Chambers in the Civic Centre, and 3, advertise the annual general meeting of electors, giving at least 14 days public notice in accordance with 5.29 of the Local Government Act 1995, and 4, advertise the availability of the 2022-23 annual report, and report in accordance with Section 5.5 of the Local Government Act 1995. Can I get a mover, please?
Questions, Mr Mayor?
Sorry, Councillor, a mover? Yeah.
No question.
Oh, question, yes.
The annual report that I read this afternoon does not have any financials in it. Can we get a reason why that is the case?
Couldn't be attached, councillor, until the earlier item was moved, and now that it has been moved, they will be included.
Mr Mayor, I don't see how we can, vote on adopting an annual report when we don't know what the financials are that are going into the report.
Clarification, councillor, item 11.1.2, which was passed this evening, is the audited financial statements that will be included.
You okay, Councillor? Okay, sorry. Okay, can I get a mover, please? Councillor Christensen, thank you. We have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Butson. Is anyone against? Yep, okay, Councillor Christensen.
I'm sure people around the internet world would be sick and tired of my voice by the closure of tonight. As per the expectation, we've just endorsed the 22-23 numbers that will be present. So I'm happy to rest on my laurels right now and have a listen to concerns relating to this motion and see where it ends. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Councillor Butson. Sorry? Just speak to the phone.
No reply.
No reply. Okay, thank you. So anyone against the motion? Yes, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is quite simple. There is no financials in the annual report. I don't see how council can pass an annual report without any financials in it. We should have been obviously provided with the financials. That's what the annual report's about. I'd love to hear the excuses that are going to come now on how we can adopt an annual report without any finances in it. This will be good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Blanco. Is anyone else for? Anyone else against? Okay, Councillor Christensen, sum up.
Yeah, I was under the assumption that our numbers are in the report that we've just done as per the previous understanding of that we've adopted the numbers that were in the original report. So I don't understand that there would be any differences to the numbers presented to us in our big tin can file on the previous motion. So hey, I might, like I said, have egg on my face coming after this motion, but I was always under the assumption that we've already looked at those numbers and they've been presented. So if they're not there, then again, I will stand corrected and have egg on my face. But other than that, I think I'm happy to support the officer's recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. We'll now put it to the vote. All those in favour? 5. Those against? 1, 2, 3. Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. 5.2.1, response to the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries. We have office recognition before us that requires a simple majority vote. The council, 1, received a letter from the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries dated the 14th of March 2024 as attachment 1, and 2, agreed to develop improvement plan outlined in the letter endorsed at 2024 Ordinary Council meeting of the council. Can I get a mover, please? Move. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Rentz. Is anyone against that motion? Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion couldn't. I believe the motion couldn't be any more clear in its expectations, requiring us as councillors to acknowledge the letter received from the department and collectively agree to a development implementation plan addressing the areas of concern raised by the department. It is important to note that this motion does not imply an acceptance of guilt or wrongdoing by any individual council member. So I suggest that it's very important that we stand at the moment in a critical juncture with the need for a strong and more unified team has never been more apparent. Together, we must recognise that our collective strength lies within our ability to work cohesively towards a common goal. A united team that fosters an environment of trust, cooperation and a shared responsibility that drives essentially for the effective governance of our town. By building a stronger, more unified team, we can enhance our capability to address challenges, capitalise on opportunities and better serve our community. It is imperative that we embrace this opportunity for improvement, committing ourselves to fostering an environment of collaboration, communication and above all respect. Only by working together can we achieve our shared vision of a council dedicated to continuous improvement and serving the best interests of our community. On top of this, I believe it's onus on us, again, like I said in the start, it's not an admission of guilt, but I think it's onus on us to have some sort of agreement that we could always improve, things could always get better, and I hope that we, councillors see that as an opportunity, and let's see where it ends for the debate. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ritz.
Yeah, definitely don't have anything as polished as that set up, but I definitely agree to receive the letter and agree to continue on our development plan. We've been working very well over the last couple of workshops that we've had with Dr. Linda and the team, and I feel that we have made some good steps in the right direction and going the right way. So I'm very keen to get them back on the table and working towards them, and start working together as a team. So I'm all for receiving the letter and sticking to the commitments that we're going to commit to, and go from there. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any against? Yes, Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this letter is well, what can I say? It's amusing. The admin has invited the department to investigate us. Why? Because there's too many questions around, the financials, and clearly the administration doesn't like that. So, because I'm asking too many questions, obviously I'm probably the main culprit. Well, let's get the department involved. And why? Because the matters have been questioned and actually that is our responsibility as members to do that. So I don't believe that I'm doing anything wrong in that respect, and because this is our mandate as elected representatives to oversee the effective and efficient financial management of the town's money. And, the original letter stated that we needed to, sign some sort of, apology to the community and stuff like that. I haven't seen that one in there. I don't know if it's taken out or not, but I definitely won't be signing anything like that. I don't believe that I'm responsible for any of these issues. These issues were highlighted well before I came on council. But some of the highlights. So actually, the letter is in the attachment, so people can read them. But excessive duration of the council meeting, leading to potentially poor decision making. Well, obviously that tells me we shouldn't be discussing the agenda items in there, and we should just be passing them. A perceived lack of transparency or alignment with the council's strategic approach in respect to the mayor's business dealings as they relate to the town's council's business. Well, clearly that's the mayor's issue himself. The detailed queries into operational matters, including unreasonable requests for information, I don't believe that is correct. Operational matters and what we do as council, noses in, fingers out. We're not in any of this operational stuff. We're requesting information to find out what is going on with the business of council. Inappropriate use of question time. Well, you know, question time is there, you know, for us to ask questions about, you know, the business of the town. Inappropriate levels of delegated authority. Well, that's an interesting one. What does that mean? Does that mean the council should be reducing the CEO's delegation? Because that's what it reads. You know, the lack of agreed expectations in respect to the management of risk and contentious issues. Well, you know, it doesn't, that one there is a hard one, because as you would be aware, I've stopped coming to the briefings, okay? And I'm not coming to any more briefings because there is a couple of statements in this that suggest, you know, staff may be, you know, stressed, or it's going to be a bad working place for them because questions are going to be asked, and, you know, answers needed on the stuff that's been requested by council members. So that being the case, I would rather just do it in the council meetings. Okay, so then everyone can see what's going on, and I don't have to worry about stepping over the line or getting breaches, or you know, people assuming that I'm doing the wrong thing. So I would much rather just come to the council meetings where, you know, we've got evidence of what is going on and how I actually you know, relate to the council and what I talk about. So, you know, this management letter is the first start, or is the start of the council going into administration. And if you can't see that, this is exactly what they've done to us previously. And you have also received the letter from the department saying, oh, it didn't need to be an inquiry, you know, because everybody resigned and we lost the quorum. The state government initiated it because, you know, they didn't like what was being said, or questions being asked, or state government being held to account on their responsibilities. And I see much the same thing happening here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Blanco. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? I'd like to sum up Councillor Christensen.
Right, I'll talk through some issues here and try and do it some service and some justice. Again, I can't emphasise enough that I don't believe that this letter is about us admitting guilt, or that we are liable for anything that has been done in the past. As any team member of any team will I hope, hold themselves to account, that on this bench we are not one individual, we are one team, regardless of whether we have made the wrongs or done anything wrong in these letters. I'm perplexed that Councillor Blanco feels that he's been targeted out in this letter. I think the letter is pretty open-ended and very generic in its terms and some of the findings it's had. But again, I think that the point's been missed here, that by agreeing to develop an implementation plan, it is the council's opportunity to actually have that team conversation and agree or disagree with findings found. But not just that, it doesn't limit us to what the findings have been from the letter. It allows us also to extend and go further to address other concerns and issues we have internally to be able to address that. I'm saddened to hear that you will no longer come to briefings, because I think that in itself will keep lending itself to a longer and longer public meeting. Half the questions you asked tonight, believe it or not, were asked and challenged at the very briefing that you didn't attend. So unfortunately, it's going to be hard for that to happen. And I hope I can ease your concerns when you talk about the fear you have in retaliational action in relation to what you say at these briefings. I'll draw reference to the policy you helped us bring on board on the very fact that we get to record every briefing. So if anything is said and any breaches are put against anybody, then we can resort back to those briefings. Oh, granted. But again, now this very tool that you voted against is there to help you ease one of your concerns that you've had. Again, I'm at a loss as to why anyone would disagree with it, and I'll respectfully agree that, again, and just take on face value anyone who does do that. But again, I just think it paints a very bad picture that we as a council don't want to work towards an improvement plan. In my mind, if you disagree and you vote against this recommendation, what you are doing is saying that this council currently is firing on all cylinders and is kicking every goal imaginable. And I will, be in disbelief if we agree that there's nothing that can be improved in this location. So I strongly urge and encourage all councillors here tonight, whether you were here during the potential issues that were spoken around, but just down to the simple fact that we have to improve somewhere. Have your say, come on board and tell us what you don't agree with from the letter. Bring forward other concerns you might have that we can address in this letter as well. Other than that, I'll humbly just ask councillors to approve the officer's recommendation and allow ourselves to come together as a team to work on what our future is going to look like moving forward. Other than that, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Okay, all those in favour of the recommendation? 7. Those against? 7-1. Motion's carried. Thank you, Councillor. Item number 13, new business of urgent nature, late items. There is nil. Behind closed doors. Okay, item number 14, motion to approve notice has been given. 14.1, Deputy Mayor Ash Christensen. We have an officer we have before us a notice of motion submitted by Deputy Mayor Christensen that requires a simple majority vote from the council. The council, 1, note the Audit and Risk Finance Compliance Committee amended the terms of reference as the President of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee on 28th of November 2023 and 12th of March 2024 and the 15th of April 2024. And 2, request the CEO President to amend the Audit and Risk and Compliance Committee terms of reference to the 29th of May 2024 Ordinary Council meeting. Yes, Councillor Christensen. Moved it. Councillor Christensen. A seconder. Councillor Rebello. Is anyone against that motion? Motion is passed. Thank you, councillors. Go to the 15. Yeah. Okay, we have one confidential matter considered tonight by council. So, as pursuant to motion, the council will close the meeting to the members of the public as described under section 5.23 of the Local Government Act 1995 to consider item 15.1. I will close the meeting.
Through the Mayor, before you close it, can I just do my declaration and then
yes,
get out, please?
Yes.
So as per the item number 15.1, purchase of property for staff housing, I wish to declare a financial and proximity interest as per the fact that I have an interest in property in that location and shares borders. So as such, I will provide you the paperwork and vacate the room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, councillor. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, councillor Rebello. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Rents. Thank you. Is anyone against that motion? No. Okay, thank you, councillors. Close the doors. 8:03 p.m. Yep. Are we offline? sorry. 5.23 of the Local Government Act. Can I have a mover, please, to come out of conference? Okay, Councillor Ray. And a seconder? Councillor Butson, thank you. Anyone against the motion? No. Karen, okay, thank you. Done. I declare the meeting open at 8:15 p.m. Open. Yeah, open 8:15. Open 8:15. Okay, the council consider the conference report 5.1 resolution was on the following. The council 1 approves the expenditure outlined for the purchase of property set out in the conference report. And 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate purchase of houses for staff housing as outlined in the report and execute documents for purchase. 3, pursuant to section 6.8 of the Local Government Act 1995, authorise the expenditure to be funded from the Town of Port Hedland Housing Reserve. The motion was carried 6-1. It was actually passed. Item number 16, closure. 16.1, the date of the ordinary council meeting will be held on Wednesday the 29th of May 2023. 24, should be 24, sorry, at 5:30 p.m. I also would like to say thank you to the Director of Regular Services, Craig Watts, on your endeavour for your new role as a CEO. Go and play for all the farmers down south, so enjoy that and enjoy the cold weather and the cold winters morning. So we're thinking of you, okay? And once again, thank you very much for your help and all your support for the council you've done over the time you've been here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. For 16.2 closure, being there no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 8:16 p.m. I'd like to thank councillors, members of the public, CEO and the staff for their attendance. Thank you very much.